Yes, we might. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dice Camera Action. We're a D&D show where we play D&D for almost 2 straight hours, and nothing bad ever happens, and everybody leaves happy. Wait a minute, that's somebody else's show.
Truly.
Yeah, that's the show that has the beach episode.
Right, yes, yeah. There's another show, there's a parallel universe, Dice Camera Action out there, where everybody's happy, joyous, and playing on the beach most of the time.
And you know what we call that show? Boring.
Boring.
Yeah, it sounds lame.
Drama-int.
Also, I want to be there.
So, previously in Dice Camera Action, the Waffle crew were invited by Lady Esvele Rajnar to a peaceful gathering at House Margaster, which turned into a debacle when Strahd von Zarovich and a pair of vampire hunter brothers showed up and inspired the Waffle crew to partake in shenanigans.
Not our fault.
Yep.
Not our-
Inspired.
Yes. So this peaceful gathering at House Margaster turned to shambles when all hell broke loose, and the Waffle crew ended up dispatching the vampire lord in fantastic fashion.
However that happened.
Ending with Evelyn Marthane casting her radiant version of Moonbeam upon the gaseous vampire and effectively obliterating him in morning light.
Get wrecked.
Yep. Then the city guard showed up because there wasn't supposed to be any violence at this festival gathering, but Strix had her word of recall handy and peek, zapped everybody safely back to the Waffle House.
Yay.
Yay.
Take that, coppers.
Yes.
It's like
Just
we're
say
never there.
yeet.
I heard a yeet.
Probably.
Yeet.
So the Waffle House is a charming multi-level estate in one of the better districts of the city, and the Waffle crew has had it renovated extensively and turned into a bakery of sorts. There's also a large supply of wine tucked away in the cellars to keep one Paulton Seppa happy. In addition to the Waffle crew, they have a owlbear named Waffles, and they have a retinue, a coterie of street urchins, 3 to be exact, and they have an albino beholderkin named Albie, and they have a little wooden man named Simon, and they have a severed hand named Handrew. Under this roof lives this extended family, and as you return, there's the usual cavalcade of chaos that ensues whenever the adults are gone for any length of time. So you bamf into the Waffle House, and then you just sort of hear screaming, yelling, floorboards creaking under the weight of a rampaging owlbear, and occasional hisses of a small beholder.
Oh, I'll say hi to Albie first because I feel like Albie, she's like really needy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So let's give him some scritches.
All right. And as we've established through fan lore, Albie now has a little witch hat.
Yes. Yeah, tiny little, yeah.
Yes.
A little sewn witch hat. So yeah, I'll give him some scritches and say hi. Look, he's so cute. And then say hi to Waffles, who I assume that Waffles like says hi like a really excited dog. I don't know why.
Like the little like
stomping.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so I'll probably like get stepped on and you'll hear some like screams like, ow! Yeah, God, no!
Also, you've noticed over the past couple weeks that Waffles has actually put on a lot of weight.
Oops.
So as she stomps around, it does sort of create its own little thunder.
God, I'll note to put her
I
on a
like it when
diet.
she's fat.
Well, you operate a bakery, so it only makes sense, right?
Yeah, she's just been eating the pie. It's like Strix is just like, what has she been eating? I don't know, I've been giving her pies.
Just pies?
Just pies.
Do you have any business that you want to attend to, knowing that you've just left House Margaster in complete and utter disarray?
The very first thing Dieth does is change out of the awful garbage that he's wearing.
Okay.
What?
He is so uncomfortable in his fancy clothes, which is why the bottom half of him was his normal outfit, and all he threw on was a nice shirt and basically a blazer on top, and thought that's what made someone look noble. And he hated it, so he's immediately just gonna go and like change back into like his normal clothes, just like, oh, it's itchy, get it off.
Okay, as you're discarding your stuff and changing out, it's still kind of dark and stormy out, and the fog is still pretty thick in the air outside. But Dieth, you do notice that stuffingless straw doll skin, Mr. Shambleface's remains, are still in your possession. Probably just sort of tucked on a little hook behind your bed.
I'm sure that means nothing.
Do we know about it now? Did you tell us or no?
I think I kind of did
Yeah.
at the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just now just sort of a kind of like a sad memento of the day's shenanigans.
Yeah. All right.
Can we put it up in the inn? Just like with a nail, like a spike? Like we did it?
Yes, that sounds awesome.
All right. Whereabouts are you going to festoon?
Strix is like shocked. She's like,
You're gonna like put
really?
it like just on like the main room, just up on a wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just with like a little tiny, like a nail that looks like a stake through the heart, like right in the middle.
Got it. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So the straw doll is now impaled on the wall of the Waffle House.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, we'll get a little cutesy home sign right next to it. You know, like the one that says stuff like
Live, laugh, love, Lathander.
yeah, something like that, but something similar. Just like no vampires in this home.
Strix can take a note to embroider no vampires, like on. Oh, you know what? She's gonna write to Rosie and ask for an embroidered sign that says no vampires.
Okay.
I think Eve watches all this kind of thoughtfully, like uncharacteristically quietly, and she's kind of getting all sappy. Like she keeps trying to like hug her friends as she looks at this, and she's like, "It almost seemed impossible, didn't it? But we're stronger now, and we did it."
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
you know, like we never thought we could defeat Strahd because he seemed like such a big bad guy. It seemed impossible, and he made such a fool of us before. But then we just kept trying, and then we did it. Is he really dead?
I don't think so.
Probably not.
likely not. But
But I mean, does it matter that we did that anyway?
it absolutely matters. For if he ever shows his face again, it means that we absolutely know that you can handle him. Between you and Paulton, we can handle him.
Well, and you guys, it's not like we would be able to do what we did without you.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, DF.
I hit a rat with a stick.
Yeah,
And
but
that rat could have interfered.
but I never would have been able to talk to everyone there in the way that you did to get us there. And you talked to Strahd and made him be how he was. You know how I am. I just run in and stabby, and I can stab real good, but I can't plan the way you did.
Pose.
Yeah, and all I did was ruin an entire room with a fireball, which is considered property damage, which I'm pretty sure is against the law.
Well,
Yeah, we all contributed.
I assume at some point,
Did real good.
I assume at some point, Evelyn, you put your sword out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But not before kind of being like like waving it around a little bit. So
Okay.
Paulton's
Don't worry.
gonna keep the nice coat on. He's just like, I'm kind of feeling myself in this. I'm gonna.
you do look really nice.
You pulled it
Oh,
off.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I thought
Yeah,
everyone
okay.
looked nice.
You all looked wonderful,
All of you.
and still do.
Strix has set her dress on fire and has just burned it off of herself.
Like, well,
I liked that
like-
dress.
Like, and it's just gone.
well,
Trick,
was
I know
nice
that
while it
maybe
lasted.
you haven't like had, you know, sister type figures in your life very long, but like typically if someone loans you a dress, you don't set it on fire.
I don't understand.
So like, do you understand borrowing? Like when you have something, but then you give it back to the person? So like sometimes a person lets you use something that isn't yours.
so it's like you eat a pie and then you throw it up in your hands and then give it back.
Kind
Yes,
of, except
exactly.
not. Well, dresses aren't typically considered consumables.
Oh, see, that's where I got confused. I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
know. It's not like a one-time thing. So like next
That's all
time if
right.
I loan you like a very expensive gown that I love, like maybe don't like set it on fire.
Okay, I'm sorry. She's like feeling kind of bad. She's like, I'm really sorry. I'll make you a new one.
Okay, you make pretty things.
All right, I'll make you a new one. I'll make you a
Okay.
new one. Do you want it
Thanks.
made out of rat fur or spider webs or?
Maybe just like hold off for now while I think about it.
All right.
Spiderweb sounds cool.
Actually, yeah, spider webs.
All right, she's like taking notes. Like, let's make Evelyn a spider web dress to make up for stealing and burning her things.
Okay, thank you.
But Strix still has her hair up. Like it's still like up with a little feather in it. That she leaves her hair like that for a while.
Cute.
All right. The peals of thunder become more infrequent and seem to fade away over the course of the night, and even the fog by morning is mostly gone.
Good. We all
Sunlight.
slept nicely.
Unless you feel differently, I'm gonna say yes.
I think Evelyn is so excited by the events of the day that she maybe has a tough time falling asleep. She does the kind of like hands clasped on chest, stare at the ceiling or the canopy of her canopy bed, like just can't quite grasp what happened that day.
While you're sort of wrestling with that, Evelyn, you're also just sort of mentally calendaring where you are in the month and deciding that you probably should pay a visit to your temple for just, putting in your regular appearance and attending mass.
Okay. She makes a note to ask the crew if they want to come with her tomorrow.
Okay.
Where can I like hang with Andrew for a bit?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm hanging with Andrew. I'm just like, all right, man. I need you to learn something for me. This is very important. And I take out the gun. Like, all right, so
Oh my god.
this like I don't know how, but we're gonna make this work. All right. So,
On this election day 2018, we teach a magical hand how to shoot a gun.
yeah, just like
He's not
this is-
teaching it
this-
to this child Simon, so
That's
the-
true.
No, I don't trust it with Simon at the moment, but I trust Andrew with this for some reason. Now, do I feel like I could teach it how to use it?
So Andrew, by his very nature, is one-handed.
Okay.
And,
Okay. Hold on.
and so
Hold on.
he could hold it, but then he's now holding it and can't he has no fingers left, or maybe he has one if he
Could he not like prop himself up on his
he
like
could
stump?
absolutely he could. So he could definitely do that and probably get a shot off in whatever direction it so wanted.
Okay.
What he might have trouble doing is like reloading it. It would be
All right.
it would be a long,
what a
difficult
glorious
process.
one shot it would be.
I bet if he
It'd be
practiced
funny,
real
though.
hard, he could do it. Do like a gymnastics thing.
So do you want to see how he fares?
Maybe if I hold him and do well, then why wouldn't I just do it? But it'd be way more
Simon
interesting.
reloaded for him.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Where's Simon? I'm gonna have Simon reloaded, and together they will operate a gun.
Now, you're not to shoot it, Simon, but you can load it.
No,
Oh my god.
I won't teach Simon how to shoot it. He will only load it, and he definitely won't try to shoot it because I didn't teach him how.
All right.
Right, Simon?
Do me a favor, Paulton, and just make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh my god.
Great. 22.
Okay. The first time the shot goes off, it basically nearly takes your ear off.
It's just kind of like a boing.
Okay, we
Oh, yeah.
definitely heard that.
Yes. Oh, I also forgot one important individual who has also been staying at the Waffle House.
Oh God.
A GIF named Warrington Munt.
Oh no, he heard that.
He heard that.
Firearms.
As the weapon discharges in the wee hours of the night, all of you are, those of you who are asleep are awakened with a start.
Ah!
Shit.
And you hear a, "By Jove!"
Uh-oh. It's like, oh no, hide it, hide the gun, hide the gun now.
You sort of
Evelyn's like "Brrr," down the
you
stairs.
kick it under the bed.
It's like, all right, and
Everyone-
everyone,
And as soon as the rest of you show up in Paulton's room, everybody is just sort of conspicuously posed.
Simon's just like T-posing.
Yeah.
Like,
What was that thunder?
hey
Thunder
everyone.
inside?
Oh, you heard that too?
I'm pretty sure the whole street heard that.
What
Oh,
was
we-
that?
That
I-
was
we
the
better
retort
find-
of a flintlock pistol.
What's
Oh.
a flint
A
smoke missile?
Flint. Yeah, what is that? Please share with the class.
You've been into my gunpowder.
What?
As this little cloud is just sort of hanging over Paulton's head.
Yeah, it definitely smells like you've been into that stuff.
It's like, look, if it's under this roof, it is our gunpowder. Not that I was in it.
Warrington Munt sort of looks around, adjusts his monocle, goes up to the wall and sees a hole in it right next to the wardrobe. Aha!
I like slowly slide in front of the hole. So this the Flint. What was it you called it?
It is a flintlock pistol.
Interesting. Is that some kind of not gun?
Evelyn like leans over to Dieth and she's like, "What are these words they're saying?"
Yeah, Diaz showed up basically still in whatever he wears while sleeping, but just had like a sword, like gutter out at the ready just in case. His entire time he says the face of.
This is most odd. It appears, and Warrington moves to the center of the room and does an about face and stares at Paulton now and says, and then looks down at the floor and says, "By my measurements and trajectory, this was fired from the floor. Someone very, very short shot that into the wall."
It must be a very tiny ghost.
Warrington
Yes,
kneels down to Simon's height and then looks back at the wall. "No, too tall."
Diaz just goes. You guys figure out this one.
"It was fired from this exact spot."
Fire? Who does fire? Strix does fire. Paulton doesn't do fire.
I didn't
I
fire
don't.
anything. That wasn't me. And now I'm awake, so I'm just gonna start doing chores because I'm sad.
Oh, maybe it was one of the
Cleaning.
maybe it was one of the kids,
They don't know fire either.
or they'll have us believe that.
But I don't see anything burned. I'm really confused. Am I dreaming? I don't
Do I-
understand any of these words.
Yes, this
Well, I
is all
start
a dream.
cleaning.
Go back to your room.
The kids,
Oh, I
the kids
see.
all come downstairs, and Jenks has got like his Albert doll, and he's clearly very tired.
Oh.
Like walk into walls tired. And
Oh no. Poor Jakes.
yes, the other two, equally tired.
Nat is probably like continuing to say like, "You probably didn't hear anything. Go back to bed. You guys are crazy. It was just a dream."
Actually, Strix will corral the kids and be like, "Okay, well, I'm done cleaning, so it's midnight snack time. Everyone to the kitchen. Everyone gets a snack, and then everyone gets to go back to bed."
Squidly heard like an explosion is probably like super hype. He's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah, Strix, I think at this point has a special pie for Squidly that makes him really sleepy.
Ooh, I want that.
So she like there's like a whole little bin of like Squidly pies, and she like hands him one of those, and then gives the other kids normal pies, like back to bed.
It's like NyQuil pies.
You see, Warrington is checking Simon's hands for gunpowder residue. Not finding anything.
Mm-hmm. Of course. I want to, like, he hasn't spotted Andrew yet, has he?
No.
Okay, I want to, like telepathically communicate with Andrew to be like, hide, don't let him see you.
Yeah, so sort of Warrington does a look around, and every time Warrington looks at one generation, Andrew just sort of scuttles on the floor behind him
Oh my god.
to a new position under some piece of furniture.
It's like, well, I guess this is a mystery to be solved in the morning, but everyone's fine, so that's fine.
Indeed.
I'm worried about you. You can't just have like fire happening in your room for no reason.
I mean, it's probably fine. I'm sure there was a good reason for it that I don't have a gun.
I can just stay here and stand guard. I'm not real sleepy.
Oh, that won't be necessary.
No, it's fine. I'll do that. It's fine. I'll just stay. You get some sleep, and you and Simon just, go back to bed where you were, sleeping peacefully, and I'll just keep watch.
Kind of like shift eyes back to the bed, like under the bed. I'm just like, okay, we'll just sleep on this bed where nothing is suspicious about it at all.
Why would anything be suspicious?
I just lay completely stiff.
Did the kids go to bed? Did they listen to Strix? Okay.
Yes.
All right. In that case, Strix will try and walk over. Well, she's thinking about going downstairs. She changes her mind and then just walks over to the Dieth's door and is about to knock on the door, and then just sleeps on the floor outside the door.
Okay. All right. Warrington just sort of gives a raised eyebrow and a suspicious look about the room and then heads back to his chamber.
Fantastic.
Evelyn's just in her little nightgown, keeping watch now. She's but she doesn't touch the floor, so she doesn't make any sound. But she's just march patrolling across the building.
Float marching.
In Paulton's room or outside?
In the room.
Okay.
Oh, good.
She's taking her patrol duties very
Yeah,
seriously.
so Evelyn is float marching by your door, Paulton.
Yes, it will be much easier to sleep now.
Oh, sorry, am I keeping you awake? I can be quiet.
Yes, that is much more settling. Welp.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, do you actually try to get some sleep while she's silently marching, watching over you?
I guess I try. I feel like the gun's pretty well hidden, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Evelyn, Paulton eventually nods off, and you watch. And Simon just sort of watching you, his head going back and forth, just watching you, occasionally darting down to the bed, but no, looking back, back and forth throughout the night.
This is what Mommy does. She protects you.
You get a bit of an eye roll.
I think, I don't know, if she gets really tired at a certain point, I think she probably plops down on the floor and sits and watches after a while. I think that she doesn't keep the marching up too long.
After she does that, she sort of props herself up against the wall, and then she kind of falls over, wakes up. She sort of leans in a corner, finds that incredibly uncomfortable.
She probably, that...
Too tired to go back to her room.
When you're so amped from a day that you're I could never sleep, and then all of a sudden it hits you and you're I am dead, and she just can't.
So related to Paulton spatially, where does Evelyn finally nod off?
I think she's probably sitting against if this is the door, she's right next to it, leaning against the wall, looking into the room.
Okay.
So not close.
All right. The morning comes and the bright dawn light shines through parts of the house. Now, most of you are in rooms that do not face the dawn, Evelyn is in Paulton's room that faces north. Dieth's room also faces north. Strix's room faces south and west.
Strix is in the hallway on the ground.
Oh, right. She's in the hallway outside Dieth's room. So she's just in the dark. Okay. So let's see. Bunk. Paulton, you're the first one to wake up. You see Evelyn sleeping on the job
Like
next to your
drooling
door.
and
Yeah.
snoring, and like her hair like this.
I like wake up and just like, and like look under the bed for the gun, make sure it's still there.
Yeah.
Like quietly. Okay, cool.
Yes.
It's like, okay. I want to like try to quietly take it and like sneak it just onto my person.
Yeah, just make a sleight of hand check. Not a hard one.
Okay. Okay.
Dexterity if you don't have it.
17.
Okay, I believe that beats Evelyn's passive perception. So,
His passive perception is like 4.
yeah, you're good.
It's
Based off
11,
roll.
thank you.
Yoink.
Yep.
It's like, I'm just going to pretend to go back to sleep.
Okay.
Never woke up.
All right. Strix, you wake up. You're in the dark. You're in a dark hall.
Oh, I forgot that I fell asleep here, so you just hear a continuous scream.
Dieth, you are now awake.
I'm awake.
You
Yep, same as before. Darts to door, weapon ready at the hand.
Find Strix on the floor, just like huddle up, going, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, he'll see Strix there, and just kind of like bend down on one knee and like reach out a hand to like help her up.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. She'll stand up, and be like, "I'm sorry, I fell asleep outside your door because I was too afraid to knock on it."
That's okay, Strix. Do you need to get back to bed?
No, I slept. Floor is actually pretty easy to sleep on when all of you slept on is the floor.
Okay, well, thank you for guarding me.
Hey, you're welcome. I was scared mostly, but they could be considered guarding too. That's much better. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. As you get up and conduct your morning business, you realize that the kids are not in their room. They're downstairs making breakfast. With the help of some unseen servants, are basically whipping something up. You hear the clattering of pans, some strange combination of smells, and
Did I teach them this?
no,
Oh.
but they've been here long enough to know where everything in the kitchen is.
Huh.
Neat.
I'm impressed.
And you can see when you walk in, Jenks is sort of pointing his wand and seemingly moving things around, but it's actually the unseen servants who are doing it.
They're actually helping him.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Jenks is like really thrilled about this. He's just like, "Look, Strix, I know magic. Look, I did it." And Strix is just like, "I know, you know magic. You say it a million times, get it. Yep. Mm-hmm."
The kitchen is understandably in complete disarray as a result of their handiwork, but no more so than it is whenever Strix is in here. So Strix, you're kind of not put out by this.
Yeah, I noticed that they kind of have their own probably organized chaos.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna continue watching, and I'll probably go in and start helping them.
Okay.
Helping them finish breakfast for everyone, and you know, get a pie ready
Yeah.
for Waffles, and
You
get
can
a
see
pie
all
ready
sorts
for
of batter around Squidly's mouth,
I'm like, Squidly,
on his cloak.
I don't no, whatever, it's fine. I drugged you last night, so it's okay.
Dice Gamer Action does not endorse the drugging of children.
Only if they're bad.
Yeah. Paulton Evelyn is still asleep. You hear clattering downstairs.
I'll just at this point it's probably time to actually get up.
Yeah.
I like get out of bed and like just kind of think about waking her up. I'm like, "Hey, she's probably tired. She probably needs to catch up on sleep." And I'll just like let her stay asleep as I walk downstairs.
Okay.
He was just like head against the wall. Like,
Breakfast is had. Everybody most of what is served to you by the kids is completely inedible and uncooked, but there's some eggs over easy that are, you know, passable, and something that kind of looks like a waffle, passable.
Kind of looks like a waffle. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Strix is going to eat it like it's the best food she's ever had, just to make them feel good.
Yeah. You've never had one with eggshells in it before, but it's kind of a neat texture.
No, she likes it. Yeah, she's like, oh, this, you know, they're good for you. One time I only ate eggshells for like 5 months.
Nice crunch.
Using his forks to like very, very carefully remove each bit of eggshell. Oh, okay.
Actually, as Paulton's leaving the room, like he kind of feels bad for her being like propped up against the wall. So, not that he's strong enough, but he wants to try and like pick her up and just like flop her onto the bed. Just be like, that's probably more comfy.
She's not terribly large, despite her, you know, enormous strength. She's, you know, a petite thing. And
Right.
You're not wearing your armor, correct, Evelyn?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you can manage it, or at the very least, you can sort of drag her gently over toward the bed
Just,
and
I'm
Would
also
that wake her
terribly weak.
flop her into the unmade bed. Just make a
Oh, no.
roll a d20 for me, Evelyn.
Okay.
I see her like kind of rolling out of
Yeah.
Paulton's arms,
Oh, okay.
like falling face first onto the
Yeah.
bed, and then
Yeah.
bouncing up, but still like just passed out the whole way.
I rolled a 12.
Okay. Somehow you kind of sleep through it all. You might say something in your sleep, suggesting that somehow all of this has been incorporated into a dream you're having.
Probably says something about weapons.
Yeah.
I think Strix is also going to make a special breakfast for Evelyn because she's never up late and she's worried about her. So Strix is gonna make her like sunny eggs, like in the shape of a sun,
Oh,
and
nice.
and just a nice special breakfast, and just like leave it outside of the door because she's like, Evelyn was sad because we killed Strahd and she's out of vampires to kill, so I'm gonna make her breakfast.
Very good, very good. Evelyn, you wake up in Paulton's bed.
She
Hey.
sits straight up, and her hair goes.
No sign of Paulton anywhere.
And she just zips to her room.
Oh no! If you open the door too fast, you're gonna run over the eggs.
Yeah, so are you running across the floor at this point, or are you flying?
Flying.
Okay. Yeah, you rip open the door and you see 2 sun eggs on the floor on a little plate.
With a smile.
She's like on a tear to go to her room like as fast as possible because she's like not done her morning ritual. No one should see her like this kind of thing. But then she's like, Rick sees the eggs and she's like, aw. Grabs them and runs.
Okay.
Takes them to her room.
When you get to your room and you can see where the sun is at, you can hear the ruckus downstairs, just the cacophony of voices talking and the usual morning business. But you think that you are well and truly late for your mass.
Oh no!
She like tries to do her workout while she's getting ready. She's
Oh my
like fixing her hair and like also doing calisthenics
Yeah.
and like throwing, puts her breastplate on backwards.
What?
Puts it back on.
Is your breastplate magical?
Mm-mm.
One of the straps breaks.
Oh.
You pull it too tight, and it just snap, comes right off.
You hear all this like just like little grunts and squeals from Evil Dream, like
As you whip around, the plate with the sunny eggs on it tips off the table and falls flat on the floor.
Oh no!
this is so sad. I relate to this so hard.
And then you just see this sort of egg ooze coming out from underneath the plate.
Oh no!
Don't worry, we'll fix you a single piece of toast and you can run out the door with it in your hand.
Also, Strix has mending. Don't forget.
Nate.
Mend an egg.
It can, right? Is that in the rules?
I guess she just does her best and then kind of like tumbles her way down the stairs.
You're in somewhat disarray. You know, there's.
But she's like desperately trying to smooth things as she goes, like still working on getting ready. She's like hopping and like finishing one boot kind of thing, and comes down and she's like, I'm late for mass. Are you guys coming with me?
Nope.
Dieth was probably explaining to anyone who's listening, Strix or Bolton or whoever was there, out loud about problems and suspicions he has about Lady Espelay. And then,
Strix is definitely listening. She's like, she's bad.
yeah, he's talking about that and how she just got the keys and all that. And how she's likely after the dragon horde, blah blah blah. And then Evelyn shows up and he's just like, oh, yeah, this will be quick, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Did they?
Well,
I assume that because they lived with me at the Spire, so I assume there was like, at least sometimes when Evelyn would like get them to come with her. But I don't know how they felt about it. Like maybe they did it out of obligation, or maybe it like wasn't so bad. Maybe it was kind of peaceful. I don't know. But I think that sometimes they would come and just like lurk.
Paulton used to steal the wine, so it was cool with him.
It's like when your friends ask you, like, hey, want to come to the bar and watch my band play tonight? And you're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, makes sense. Paul would be like, I mean, if it's for the blood of Lathander that needs to be consumed, then we must obviously, give thanks to whatever. Let's go.
I mean, I feel like he really did help us. We should probably thank him, especially for last night when we killed Strahd and we used the Sun Sword, which is basically like Lathander sword, and he blessed us with his light. And because she's frantic, she's starting to do the like constant talking about Lathander thing and just kind of drowns out everything else and is kind of just like pushing everyone toward the door.
Yeah.
Yes, Evelyn, when you whip open the door, you see on the other side, like he was just about to knock on the door when you whipped it open. It's
Strahd.
Standing in the dawn light, the vampire Strahd. No. Todd.
Oh my god.
Oh, Curse of Todd.
Curse of Todd.
Now, Todd.
The true nemesis of the campaign. And then you sort of catch him off guard with the haste with which you whipped the door open, and he was surprised that his hand did not actually connect with the wood, and he almost knocked you on the forehead. But stopped short of that and pulled back in surprise. You can see there are a couple other city guards standing away from the door out in Troll Skull Alley, just sort of waiting on him. And after his initial shock, he just sort of looks at you up and down for a second, like you're going to go out looking like that.
Hi, Todd. Blessings of the Morning Lord upon you. Would you like to accompany us to Mass?
Regretfully, he says no. He just came by to let you know that a city magistrate has kind of smoothed things over with the Margaster family, and whatever transpired there, and he doesn't claim to know what, will not be visited upon you in any way.
Evelyn's in that awkward position where like someone's saying something really nice and it's very nice of them to have come all this way, and like that you should like invite them in and like talk to them for a while, but she's like on her way. She's like, that's so nice, thank you, Todd, I really appreciate it. Okay, we gotta go. Maybe you could come over later for some coffee or something.
You didn't hear his reply as you barrel out of the Waffle House. Who's the last one out the door?
I think it'll be me, because I'm trying to decide if I want to bring Albie or not as like a friend. I decided to leave him at home because I think he might be too scary, because I saw Dia's face. I'm like, and Dia's like, she's like, oh, okay. You go watch the kids.
Okay. In the Mad Rush, is it just going to be the four of you at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Waffles, take care of the kids. Simon, you too.
Are you gonna bring your hand? Your gun hand?
I'll leave him behind.
Okay.
It's like,
don't-
you're probably fine.
You're not gonna bring gun hand to
You
mass?
actually have a gun here.
All right.
Nah.
Are you planning to go there by foot then? Okay. You reach the spires of the morning. You can see that, Evelyn, you're familiar with this because you visited the temple periodically over the last couple of weeks, but there has been sort of a little bit more pomp to the outside regalia. Guards dressed in golden armor stationed at various entrances, particularly after the security breach involving Xanathar. The guard presence here has been greater, but they're all done up in ceremonial sun armor, bearing not the familiar symbol of Lathander, but the older, more archaic sun symbol of Aminator. And as you lead your friends past the guards, who don't even bat an eye at you, well, maybe on this occasion, one or two of them do sort of look at you in a slightly different way. Maybe it's the way you're composed yourself this morning. Maybe it's just your urgency, but something about it is different than normal. So you do catch a little askew glance, but then nothing beyond that. You head in and you can see that people are spilling out of the narthex, the nave, out through side doors and whatnot, the mass having concluded about 5 minutes ago.
I think
Oh no, we missed it.
Oh. Well, before we react to that, I want to say I think that Evelyn has probably in the last few weeks been, if she's been visiting the temple, I think she's also probably been like spending some time in study about this whole like Aminator rebrand thing. It's really been bugging her. Like, she still says all her prayers to Lathander, but I assume during the mass, Lathander is less and less present, and we're hearing an Aminator a lot, and it's really just like weighing on her. So I think she's been doing like scriptural reading and like talking to a few of the church elders, like kind of trying to get a sense of like what's going on and why.
Okay.
Does
You can make an investigation check, or if you don't have the skill, intelligence.
14.
With that roll, you're able to ascertain that Aminator is sort of symbolically represented by the sun, not just the morning as Lathander. Lathander puts the emphasis on the morning, whereas Aminator is really a sun god. But there's this sort of element of bureaucracy to Aminator that Lathander does not have in his portfolio. This sort of order that, everything happens in a prescribed way, the same way, all the time. It's routine. And Aminator's worship is extremely so. And the bureaucracy that accompanies it also so. But what you're able to learn with your 14 is that Father Sunbright is bringing in a consultant, someone, a Aminator pilgrim, a traveling priest of great renown named Father Andrew Cormeril, to help him redefine the church in Aminator's way.
And when she had asked him about it before, he had said like, "Oh, Aminator, Lathander, they're the same thing. It doesn't matter, right?"
Yeah, in a fashion. He said nothing would change about how you conduct yourself or your position within the temple or anything like that.
So as Mass is like just getting out and we've missed it, Evelyn's visibly like very dismayed, and like very troubled because she seems to give the impression that at Mass today, there was some reason she really wanted to be there.
There are also large parts of the inside of the temple that are closed off and have been sort of shut down as renovations are ongoing. And
Were there any more large Evelyn statues?
There are not. The one that did exist is no longer there, having shattered. So there are no other effigies of Evelyn haunting this enormous place. You do see Sister Incensia having a conversation with another priest of the temple. And it's a bit of an argument, and you can tell that she's red-faced and quite upset.
And if I remember correctly, Incencio was the one that kind of tipped me off that things are maybe like
changing more than you've been told.
Right.
Yeah. She sees you, and a smile crosses her face. The frown disappears quickly. She makes her way over to greet you and your friends. And those of you who haven't met Sister Incensia before, she is a large, very pretty woman. And in her, you guessed, mid-40s, late 40s, maybe early 50s. It's hard to tell. She carries herself very well, and time, if it has passed greatly for her, has been very kind. But you can see some worry lines form in her face, and she tells you, she confides in you, Evelyn, that the temples, she said, the way she frames it is this: your request about the orphanage and possibly putting the children up here, that has been denied. The orphanage is temporarily closing down, and we're sending the children who are here to other places in the city until the new bureaucracy is set up. But for the time being, all funds are being channeled into the restoration of the temple.
Well, that just can't be right. There's just no way. That just can't be right.
Well, apparently the temple is not fit for Aminator's glorious return.
Wait, what? When was the glorious return? Wait, what? Strix like peeks around. Like,
I think this has gone too far. I think that something has to be done. And far be it from me to challenge the authority of the church, but who's making these decisions?
Well, the priests have basically elected Father Sunbright as, at least for the time being, the high priest of this temple. He has a great deal of support, and now with the arrival of Father Cormeril, is solidifying that support.
Well, that's good, because I know Father Sunbright real well, and I'm sure that he would be willing to talk to me, and I'll go talk to him. I'll point out this oversight that I'm sure he didn't do on purpose, and I'm sure that he'll change his mind.
He has told me that he has your full support.
Well, yeah, of course, he's my friend and mentor and all that, but I'm sure he wouldn't ever just turn.
Whoa! He's saying that he has Evelyn's full support.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Evelyn, at what point did you say you were in full support of this?
Well, I told him that he had my support as a leader of the church.
Evelyn, at what point did you say you're in full support of this?
Well, I didn't say that. I'm sure it's just a mistake.
You said they're being displaced to other orphanages. Which ones? Where?
She says, 3 priests have been tasked with basically making sure that the children are well provided for. They have all the documentation. If you fill out the requisite paperwork, you can probably obtain some of that information, given that Evelyn is your friend.
Of course.
I think we should just all go talk to Father Sunbright and let him know that, of course, he wouldn't want all of these orphans to be spread all over the city. It's hard enough not having a home other than a home together, and they should all stay together in their home, and they should stay in the temple. So let's just go talk to Father Sunbright, and I'm sure that he'll make it right.
yes, Strix is gonna look at Incensia and just be like, I'm pretty sure that when you start kicking orphans out, you are a bad person.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, I think Evelyn's right. The first thing we should do is talk to Father Sunbright and see exactly where he's getting these notions.
Sister Incensia gives Strix and Diath basically a look like she doesn't dispute what you're saying. And then she basically leans into you, Evelyn, and says, may I have a word with you in private?
Sure.
She'll take you aside.
Yeah, Strix.
There's enough acoustics here where if you really want to sort of position yourselves strategically, you could probably overhear this conversation.
You know we will.
And so she says, I don't know when, but soon, Priestess Zeres's appointed successor is destined to arrive in the city. She's traveling a great distance to get here, so it's unclear exactly when she will arrive. But she's left Cormyr some time ago, and could arrive in Waterdeep any day now.
And what do I already know about this person?
You have heard that the previous high priest, Zeres, had picked someone to succeed her. You do know that it was somebody not of Waterdeep. And you were told by Sister Incensia the last time you spoke that this individual's name is Talastin Adaragon.
And I don't know anything about her other than that Zeres picked her.
Incensia says Zeres picked her and that she is a true follower of Lathander.
Well, good. Maybe she can help me talk some sense into these boys.
Incensia says, I'm not sure that's how it's going to play out.
What do you mean?
Well, from what I've heard, Talastin Adaragon is a bit of a, well, rather like Zeres herself, a bit of a renegade. She does things her own way, within the spiritual edicts of our temple, of course. It's nothing shady, but I've heard rumors about her that she is not like us.
What do you mean?
She takes you a little bit farther away into a corner.
We like follow.
And she says, she's a drow.
Oh. Yeah?
A dark elf.
Mm-hmm.
A priest of Lathander.
Great.
Do you really think so?
Why not?
Anyway, Mother Zeres asked me to look after her upon her arrival, and I intend to do just that.
Yeah, I love Zeres. Wait, do I remember Zeres?
You knew of her before you met her in her dead state.
But I hadn't actually met her.
No,
I just knew of her.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, if Zeres liked her, then I sure am gonna like her.
Yes. And she sort of looks back at your weird coterie of friends and says, you may be right.
Hi, lady.
At the drow comment, Paul leans over to Strix and is just like, racist.
She just nods like, mm-hmm, yep. Mm.
Well, I just feel like probably if I go talk to Father Sunbright, we'll unravel this whole thing. He'll get off this Aminator kick and let the orphans come. And by the time she gets here, everything will be hunky-dory.
You can see the father has left the main temple and is talking to a bunch of people, but given time, you can sort of separate him from the rabble and basically corner him somewhere where you can have a conversation, just you and him.
I think you can tell that Evelyn's she's putting on her church face and she's very proper and everything, but you can tell she's kind of nervous for this conversation. It seems like this is why she was so intent on being at mass, because she was planning on talking to Father Sunbright after having done all this kind of soul searching on the Aminator subject.
Mm-hmm.
So she's asking her friends to come along with her. She's very much toting them as security blanket moral support, even if she's not saying I'm nervous. So she kind of was come on, I have to go talk to Father Sunbright. Let's not get separated.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So the four of you are able to converge upon him. And you can see he's all smiles. Sunbright is a sort of average height, average build man, youngish, late 30s, possibly, with bright blonde hair and a blonde beard. not terribly long, well-trimmed hair, well-trimmed beard, in the full priestly vestments of Aminator.
Wasn't Sunbright the one that trained me when I was a kid?
That's right.
Wouldn't he have to be a little bit older?
Well, this is doubtless the work of some magic.
I thought so. Okay, well, anyway, Evelyn walks up and is like, "Hello, Father Sunbright. Blessings of the morning, Lord, to you in this new dawn."
And he says, "You're late."
I am sorry.
And you're... he stops there and says, "What can I do for you, sister?"
Well, I was hoping to catch you because I had been doing some deep devotional study, and I had some thoughts and questions that I wanted to talk over with you, as a mentor. And then also I was just talking to Incensia, and she told me that there had been this oversight about some orphans, and that they were being sent away from the temple, where normally they would, of course, stay and have a home, as is the, mission of the church to provide a safe haven and help for those in need. And I'm sure that it's a misunderstanding of some kind. So I wanted to let you know that was going on, and hopefully help make sure that the orphans could come and stay here all together instead of being all separated and sent away.
He says, "The temple here has been mismanaged for a tremendous amount of time, much to my dismay, I might add. This all came to light very recently, and so I've appointed a body of priests to help me get us to where we need to be. And so temporarily, I've reallocated funds to regilding the domes and the spires, as well as various interior chambers that have basically been neglected. We are going to be attracting a tremendous number of new followers once Aminator rises to his pinnacle once again. And the space that this demands is great. And yes, we are one of the largest temples in the city, and yet our plans require us to make sacrifices."
You see Evelyn kind of get like a little bit of a bee in her bonnet, because he's quoted a little scripture at her, and if there's anything she can do is quote scripture back. Mm-hmm. She's kind of like, "Did Lathander not say that what good is a golden shelled egg if what's inside provides no nourishment?"
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. And all of that text came from the far more ancient and true texts of Aminator.
So we agree that no matter how shiny the outside of something is, it's the inside that really counts?
Exactly.
So the orphans can come stay?
Well, no, not necessarily. You see, there are places throughout the city, well-tended orphanages, that have space, and they are far more capable of educating these young spirits in the skills that they need to survive and prosper in this world, whereas before our attentions were divided. And when the time comes, when they are of age, we will bring them back into the temple in various capacities that the young and can serve, and they will learn the warmth and embrace the faith of Aminator.
I think that, with all due respect, that might be a little backwards. Because, yeah, children need to be educated and they need to know the truth, but
they also need to know how the real world works.
They need warmth first. They need love first. They need care in each other and friendship first.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think the orphanages are nice. You hear it from the back.
DF can probably attest to that.
Yeah, she's like askance looking at Dia, like,
We must have faith in our fellow Water Davians. We are all one community. This temple does not exist in isolation from the rest of the city. We are part of the city, and we have to do things to create ties, important ties to the city.
You know what? You're so right. And Evelyn looks at like the masses of people leaving the temple, and she flies up into the air and she's like, people of our community, fellow worshippers of Lathander.
oh no, she's
He's
People
like, oh,
of the
she's doing a
Morning
thing.
Lord.
Colton like just starts like playing back. First instrument, oh shit.
Strix hides under a table.
Actually, is there like an organ in this establishment?
Sure.
Cool. He just runs over, starts playing something in G major.
Oh my god.
It's really uplifting.
You know the plight of so many in our city who are less fortunate than us, don't you?
Make a
Right.
make a
Like,
persuasion
we do.
check.
Can I, from under the table, do some like thaumaturgy of crowd noises going woo?
Sure.
Basically, she's
Woo,
like,
yay.
and the least of these, the most needy, are our children, right?
Yes,
And
the
we-
children.
And you
The
do see
children.
several parents with their children and whatnot in the crowd.
Colton like specifically points at families with children. This guy knows.
The church must provide for those who need warmth and love and a family, and we can provide that. But unfortunately, the church finds itself financially unable to provide for these orphans right now. So what do? We stand with each other as a community, right? We provide for these orphans, right? And we're going to start a fund right now to make sure the orphans can stay here in Waterdeep together, aren't we? She rolls a 20.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes. So yeah, you get the crowd energized as the light shines through the high windows and gleams off of your hair and armor and accoutrements and your boots and your wings.
She's using her emoji shield, which has the angel emoji
Nice.
on it, as like a receptacle, and she's taking like a collection.
Oh, so
and
fluttering
she's saying,
around and just sort of taking a
Yeah.
sizable collection. Yeah, people
she's
will.
like, bless you, people of our community. We're one family. Yes, and she's just like, creating a community feeling.
They start to dig deep into their purses and spill coins onto your shield. A few well-dressed nobles with their prim and properly dressed children kind of look at you ruefully, a little bit embarrassed not to contribute as others look upon them, and so they throw some coins in as well. And
Colton
soon,
also notices the like nobles not donating, and then he's just like, plus it's tax deductible.
and so more coins get heaped on as you make your way around. You can feel the weight of the generosity in your shield, Evelyn.
And I think what I'm trying to get across that she's done is basically like ignored the bureaucracy of the church to get something good done, and she doesn't care that she's basically saying, hey, the church is too poor to do good work.
Dieth, you hear Father Sunbright mumble to himself, she is fucking insane.
Dia snaps right back over at him, just says, what the fuck did you just say?
I'm sorry,
Do
my
I-
son.
What was that? What did you just say just now?
Call him son.
And he says, my son, I don't know what you mean.
I heard it. What father or priest of Lathander looks at what she's accomplishing right now to help refugees and says, what the fuck is wrong with her? And Dia says it's very, very
Loud, that's...
Echoes, gets thaumaturgy from the acoustics.
Yep.
Please, my son, do not say such words in this holy place.
Yes, I agree. So then why did you say that?
Is he attracting a crowd?
People are definitely hanging on Dieth's loud, echoey words. But Father Sunbright says, let us speak in chambers. Privately.
We don't go anywhere that's private. We all go together.
but could go somewhere in private, but together.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. And he turns to the crowd and says, "It is this generous spirit that carries this city above all peers and makes us the envy of the North."
I start playing like evil music as he's talking. Like villain.
Oh my god.
He stops talking as he realizes that his words are not being conveyed properly with the musical accompaniment, and he retreats from the temple, clearly making his way to his chambers.
I'm going to go with him to
Okay.
speak privately, but as Dieth does, he's actually going to turn back towards Strix and Paulton. Looking at Strix and giving a hand signal, just being like, polymorph rat. And looking over at Paulton just gives him like a symbol for like you invisibility.
He gives a signal, and then I slowly like kind of open up the coat and point to the gun. I'm like,
why did you bring that to the church?
it's like, and he just instantly just goes invisible.
Yeah.
Oh,
Evelyn, you can basically take your shield of coins over to Sister Incensia and a group of other priests who will just sort of hold out their gowns and make like bowls out of them that you can just sort of pour the coins into.
Evelyn's in full like representative of the church mode, so now she's like continuing to take collections, talking to families, like thanking them, shaking hands, pressing palms.
If only she could see her hair.
Oh no! It's like mortified.
All right, Strix will also rat and follow Dieth.
Okay. Strix rat follows Dieth.
mm-hmm.
Paulton,
Yep, invisible following.
gun out, in. Gun loaded.
Oh.
Whoa.
No, just still on the
All
person.
right, got it. Okay. Evelyn, you notice as you dump the last of the gold out into the caring hands of priests that you like, you notice your friends ambling off, and Dieth sort of gives you a very quick little symbol, sign,
To me?
probably.
What did you signal to me, Dia?
Probably to signal to you where we're going and something along the lines of "we'll be right back."
So like giving me the impression that I should I should finish up what I'm doing and you guys are gonna do.
Yeah, Paulton, while he's invisible, will like run by Evelyn, just kind of like whisper, just be like, "We're gonna get Father Sunshine ass or whatever. We'll be back."
Wait, what?
You don't see him, you just hear him.
I think she starts to be troubled by that, but then like another noble comes by and like grabs her hand and starts talking to her again. So I think she gets swept up in like the community event she's created and stays out there.
All right. Yes, you
And
are
she also-
intercepted, Evelyn, by a lady Amcathra, who introduces you to her son, Dortimer.
Amcathra is the family that commissioned the statue, right?
That's correct. And she tells you that she regretted hearing that the statue was destroyed in some act of criminal vandalism, but it was a pale candle to you anyway. And then she introduces her son, who, thanks to you, was able to be brought back from the dead after a horse accident.
When I look at him, does the memory come back?
Yes.
She sweeps him up in a hug and like twirls him around.
Yeah, he is the boy whose spirit you met in the Soulmonger.
And she's kind of like wide-eyed because she hasn't remembered like a full set of events or a full person from that time before.
You can see that he's just sort of dumbstruck by you sort of sweeping him up and.
I remember you.
And you can see sort of a faint, just a very dim recollection in his eyes as well. Like he does recognize you, but he's at a loss for words.
We were dead together.
You can see the mother get a little uncomfortable and look to her valet when you say that to her child.
And we're both alive. Isn't Lathander wonderful?
But then she smiles and looks around at all of the other people around. And the boy looks sort of momentarily horrified, and then he starts to tell you about how he was riding his horse, and he remembers leaping over, or the horse leaping over a hedge, and him falling and hitting his head, but he doesn't remember anything after that.
Oh, well, I didn't until just now, but I remember us spending time together in Lathander's realm, and we rode horses there, and we didn't fall. And even if we did, it didn't hurt because we were in heaven. And it was real nice. And I rode Morning Glory, my horse, who was a peg, and she just like is telling him everything she remembers from beginning to end, everything that they did together. But she makes it sound really fun and exciting and pleasant and not scary like being dead.
Okay. While that's going on, you can hear the mother is just sort of standing there, hands clasped, nodding and smiling, and generally looking very, very pleased that this is going so well. And she says, you know, perhaps the least we can do, I mean, we made the donation to the church, of course, but we never really thanked you. Perhaps you would join us for dinner sometime.
That would be so lovely. I would love that. Could I bring a +3?
She looks at the valet and says, of course, yes.
Thank you. That's so kind. I would love that. When would be a good time?
Do you live here at the temple?
No. I live in a house.
Well, you could give my valet your address, and I will have an invitation sent to you.
Oh, that's so fancy. Okay. And she somehow scribbles down the address.
Yeah, you don't have anything on you to do that, but her valet can produce something and basically take the notation of where you live.
Okay.
So that's taken care of. The rest of you follow the father into his chamber. When you get there, the room is not empty. There is another man, older, maybe in his 50s, tall and very thin, with stringy long hair that goes down over his shoulders, and he's got a very sort of pronounced widow's peak and thick eyebrows that give his brow and his countenance sort of an intensity, almost hawk-like features. A very sort of sharp nose, angular cheekbones, and piercing ice blue eyes. And as he looks over toward you, you can see he's got a pendant of Almanator around him, but he's fairly modestly dressed. He's not dressed in the full priestly vestments and regalia of the temple. And Father Sunbright says, Father Andrew Cormeril, these are Water Davians.
Well, it's just me. You should only
Oh,
see me.
right, that's right.
Yeah.
He is a follow of our church.
Sure.
And if he also, then he adds, and also resided here for a time, didn't you?
Well, yeah, that was a long time ago, but yes.
Yes, I remember the records. And you can see that this other priest is standing next to a wine cabinet and is basically pouring himself a drink.
Mm-hmm.
And Paulton, you see that it is a resplendent display of wines. Based on the nature of this cabinet, you think that these are probably wines that have been gifted to the priest, or maybe Father Sunbright is actually a bit of a collector of wine. But Father Cormeril is having his lot.
Is there
So
anything
when-
I can? Oh, go ahead.
So when an object's on my person, it is also invisible, right?
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to wait for the proper time to like sneak over and just like occasionally just steal a bottle and tuck it in my coat. Not when they're being used, of course.
Yes. The visiting priest comes over to you, Diath, extends his hand. He's got a drink in the other hand, but he extends his hand in friendship to you to shake it. And he says, please, while I am a member of the church, of the temple, while I'm traveling, I prefer the name Andrew Morn.
Sure. Dieth will take the hand and shake it and say, yeah, I'm Dieth Woodrow.
Delighted.
Yeah.
And then Father Sunbright goes on to tell you that Father Morn he's a traveling priest, a pilgrim who has taken the faith of Aminator across the north, far to the east, as far as Rashomon, he says, which is about as far as you can imagine, and then has brought the faith of the sun to the sort of most remote corners of the world, and even converted a few dwarves. And Father Morn, aka Father Cormeril, looks a little immodest at this, very proud of his accomplishments, and kind of looks down his nose at you.
I'm not impressed.
I get the sense that this is a private conversation. I will see myself out and back to my own quarters. It was a pleasure to meet you, Dieth.
Great to meet you, Andrew.
He looks to Father Sunbright, Andrew, and then leaves.
Bye, Andy.
Father Sunbright, after Father Cormeril leaves, says that was not very polite.
Sorry, I'm not very good about these things. Speaking of not being polite,
He says to
explain
you,
yourself?
in my fucking temple, I'll talk how I please.
Squeak!
Now seems like a good time to grab a bottle of wine.
Make a sleight of hand check to see if you can do it without the bottle being, its departure being noticed in any way, shape, or form.
Do I get advantage for being invisible?
Yes.
Sweet. Okay. 19 or 14.
Okay. You're sort of horrified with how badly you do that, and yet, there's no indication that Father Sunbright noticed, and he was practically staring at the cabinet at the time. Maybe he just missed it by a scant hair of a second. You pilfered it away before he saw it. But he goes over to the cabinet and actually takes the bottle down and a couple empty glasses and goes over to his desk and pours one for him and one for Dieth. And he says, let's clear the air.
I grab a glass and that turns invisible, and then just pour it down. And just watch.
And he'll pour a drink for himself. He'll pour a drink for you. He'll tell you about the vintage Dieth. You don't really care. He'll set the bottle down, and then he'll take his cup and hand you one. And he says, you want to talk straight? Let's talk straight.
Sure, we can start off by you saying that this is your temple. I was under the understanding that this belonged to Lathander.
Well, you're wrong.
Aminator.
I have tremendous support among the priesthood, and they have installed me here to course correct, to set us on the right path. And I know in my heart, and I know that this is the path that we must walk. Aminator is rising, and when he does, we must be prepared.
Prepared for what?
For he that illuminates us all. Or, more to the point, for the gifts and glory that he will visit upon us, for showing him the respect that he deserves in his long-awaited return.
And you believe the way you get prepared for this is by living lavishly, spending money to put up gold on walls?
To show that we care, that his return is important to us.
Now, I am not the most well-versed in, say, Aminator, but generally speaking, I would imagine that whatever god of the sun probably doesn't give a shit at whatever jewels you're wearing.
And you're the expert. He takes a drink.
During this talk, invisibly, as Paulton's sipping his wine, he also kind of just, standing behind him, takes out the gun, and then just kind of gets it ready, points it at him.
The father goes back and sets his drink down, and he says, "It's the dawn of a new day, Diaz. There's a new sheriff in town, and that sheriff is me."
Ugh.
Ew.
Can I like, I'm like rat next to him. Is there anything I can see like in his desk that looks like fishy while I'm ratting around?
Fishy? No, you can see that there's sort of a stamp and some sort of religious books propped up on his desk. His chair is sort of a beautiful gilded monstrosity with a chair adorned with this sun symbol. This is all fairly new. You can see that a lot of the decor in the room has recently been replaced, because you've probably been through this area before. Old symbols replaced with new symbols. There's a new big sort of bronze sun symbol hanging on the wall behind the desk between two tall windows that have gold threaded brocade curtains, coincidentally sort of shielding against the sun at the moment.
Symbolic.
Yeah.
All right, then I'll just try and gnaw a hole through his robe.
Okay. Success.
That'll get him.
Got him. I'm like, I take my little rat
Yeah,
hand.
you sort of tear off like the lower trim on his robe, in sort of this long tapering strand behind him.
All right, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
So after
Do you partake of the wine?
I don't drink any. No.
Okay.
It's just like kind of holding the glass this whole time, and after that display of bravado, Diaz will say, "So this is what this is all about. You're just seeking power for yourself, so you can make yourself feel better."
No, not at all. It's not about me. It's about the preservation of belief and faith and knowing that the temple is not being mismanaged, that the money that the Waterdavians are investing in this place is being used wisely.
And now you're an investment. I thought the only thing the temples cared about was not about money or things, but always about life itself.
Please. This is a symbol. We're standing in a giant symbol, and this symbol will crumble under its own weight without the money to support it. Money is everything in this city, Diaz. It's not what I want, it's what it is. If you want to be the highest and the mightiest and you want to attract followers, then you have to win over the nobility. The nobility is the money in Waterdeep, and they will invest heavily if they believe that the church is working. Is it hot in here, or is it just me?
I've never had such aspirations. I've never wanted followers or power or anything like that. Only a safe place for me and my friends. And at one point,
we all have a calling. Mine has brought me here. And until some higher power says that I am not fit, then... And he collapses.
Oh, no.
Don't tempt those higher powers, man.
I become uninvisible. I'm just like, I didn't shoot the sheriff.
Oh my god.
Diaz, you can see that he looks stone cold dead by the time he hits the floor.
It's time to go.
I immediately put down the wine glass. Check his body to see if he's still alive or choking or whatever. Seeing he's dead, and then I immediately go and check his wine glass.
Okay.
Paul's hands are up, just like, what the fuck?
Strix is gonna turn back from a rat and immediately find some way to block the door, to not let people in.
Okay, so you're just you're basically gonna go over and shove a chair underneath the gilded handles of the door.
Yeah, and just be like, no one can find us in here like this. They're going to think that we did this, so we need to leave. I have a spell that can get us to leave, so we're gonna leave, but let's find out what's going on first, and then we're gonna leave.
Okay, Diaz, you can see that his flesh is starting to turn black in front of your eyes, and you realize he's essentially flaming out.
Oh.
He is burning away into basically charred remains. It's like his skin is just spontaneously combusting before your eyes.
What the fuck?
Just based on what limited knowledge I've had from...
And you go over to the wine and you look at it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna now. You've dabbled in. You probably had poisoners kits or you whatnot. And
I'm not super knowledgeable about poisons, so like I'm immediately like going through my catalog of knowledge and be like, is there any poison that even freaking does this?
I feel like Strix might know.
you can either make a intelligence arcana or intelligence nature.
I'll do an Arcana check. I feel like that's in my abilities.
Can I give like a poisoners?
Yeah.
Or what kind of roll?
So I will let you.
I don't know.
I'll let you make an investigation check, Dia.
Yay!
I only got a 12.
Okay.
Investigation 21.
Okay. This is very. You do believe that the wine is poisoned.
Yeah.
You believe it is probably magical in nature, and you think that you have 21. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but also even with the roll, I could.
Yes.
Dieth has never been like a one to use a whole lot of poison.
Yeah.
So
This is a very. You've probably heard of this one because it's very, very rare, and it's used by drow. You know that its colloquial name is sun death.
Well,
Oh.
Oof.
too on brand.
Uh-oh.
Paul, like, before Dia can say things, like, so I have a suspicion. I think it might have been poison. But the question is, how did they get it into him? I just can't figure it out.
I want to immediately check the bottle that he used to pour the wines and check for any sign of tampering or the like.
Okay. Now you saw him sort of pull the cork out of it.
Yes.
And
Was it full at the time?
no.
Okay.
You believe that it had been previously opened.
Huh. Oh my god. Okay. Bad.
Your best assumption is since it had been opened before, it's possibly a wine that he liked,
Yeah.
and somebody would have known that.
And the only other person in this room at the time was Andrew Cormerel.
That is true.
And I didn't see him do anything.
No.
Ooh. Ooh, it's bad. Oh, we can't be here right now. We can't.
Time to
be
go!
There's just a sort of charred skeleton in priestly vestments lying smoldering on the floor.
Yeah.
But we can't leave now. There's a mystery afoot.
Oh God, can I like
Yes.
maybe do you want me to clean this up? I'm really good at disposing of bodies.
Oh, just feels like that's hiding evidence.
He's right. You can't tamper with the evidence.
Yes,
We'll
Colton. Right now, there's 3 prime
All
suspects.
right, so what do we? Okay, then
Yes,
why don't we just?
we'll need to call the police about this.
Why don't
worry,
why
I'm
don't we
on.
just wait?
Evelyn.
If it's,
Evelyn.
God damn it!
So the Amcathras seem to want to be on their way, but Dortimer looks forward to talking with you again, and he wants to introduce you to his horse, and he hopes to meet Morning Glory, and he can't stop talking about horses.
Evelyn obliges fully and says she's really excited to talk about horses as well.
And his mother's like, we must head back to the villa now.
We'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you for that wonderful, heartwarming speech.
Well, thank you for contributing. I know that you already contribute to the church, and I know that it was asking for more, but I think those orphans are going to be real happy. And Dortimer, you're sure lucky to have a loving family like this one, and you never forget it, okay?
He nods. And
And
he'll
also-
wave as he's sort of pulled away.
And thanks for the statue. As they leave.
Yeah.
So then she wants to make sure, she wants to talk to some leadership other than Father Sunbright, the people who are out here, to make sure that this money she collected is actually going to go specifically to making a place for the orphans here.
A couple of the priests are like, well, you know, we've got to make sure that the money is essentially cataloged and put into certain coffers, and then and they start to get into this bureaucratic rigmarole, and then Sister Incensia says, I'm sure this is that Sister Evelyn wanted this money put toward a specific use. I think we can probably find some method in the bureaucracy to make sure that it gets to where she would like it to go.
Is this bureaucracy like what has been always, or is this
No,
new?
this is new.
Okay.
She'll tell you that there's a new way for basically handling any donations made on the grounds of the temple, and there's this whole system and blah 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 blah, none of which has to do with orphans or children. But Sister Incensia says we will talk to everybody we can and see what can be done.
Well, what if, since this money was technically given to me, it's technically mine. So what if I make it conditional that unless it goes directly to helping these orphans, I won't give it to the church?
The priests kind of look at you a little aghast, like you were collecting money in the church for yourself.
She's like, just, you know, it's just,
Like they can't almost believe what you just said. Like they're just
Well-
like, did she just say what she just said?
I'm
Or
just,
choice of words.
look, I just don't want this money getting lost. I want it to go to the children. So whatever we have to do with that, whatever paperwork technicality has to happen, that's what we need to do. That's all I'm saying.
Sister Incensia will say, I will do everything in my power to ensure that the money goes to where you wish it.
All right.
And if necessary, we can hold it in a trust until Telastan Aragon arrives.
And then she could help.
Yes,
That sounds great.
we'll do that.
Okay.
Okay, and then they leave. And you go to see your friends and you realize the door's not opening.
And we just hear rattling at the door, and Rel's like, oh God.
What do we do? You hear us panicking, and you probably recognize the panic. It's like the hide the body panic. You probably...
Is there like a rug I can just like put over it?
Yes,
Okay, I'm just like, guys, I got it.
there's this big lump.
All right, so I open the door, like assuming that it's gonna be like an official, and I'm just like, oh, he's dead.
Who? Who?
Oh, it's Evelyn?
Strix just like can't say anything, and she just like looks at Dia, and she's like,
Dieth comes up, pulls Evelyn in, and like shuts the door behind her. And then turns to Evelyn and just says, I don't know how much more you know, but Father Sunbright was just murdered.
You guys killed Father Sunbright?
It's like, A, we didn't. We were ready to, but didn't. D, for what it's worth.
He's just standing in front of this lump under a rug right now.
And for what it's worth, he was a big dumb jerk face. So there.
Evelyn's like there's a lot of emotions happening for Evelyn right now. Father Sunbright was
Yeah?
Father Sunbright was basically her father figure,
Right.
but then also like making choices that she didn't understand, that she was like maturing beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's like very sad that he's dead and very confused. And I think she just starts like,
She goes over and drinks the wine on his desk. No.
I think she's kind of frozen. Like
Okay.
she's just kind of like,
Okay, I'll fill you in. So we learned that he was a jerk and he was using the money to make stuff fancy and he hated kids a lot. He thought kids were the literal worst thing to ever happen. His words, not ours. And then his corpse just kind of like burned and then he is, skeleton man. And that's
There
cool.
is this horrible stench hanging in the air, Evelyn, that greets your nostrils for the first time, and it is the smell of burnt flesh.
Yes.
Set him on fire?
Deeth explains everything that happened in greater nuance.
I did not set him on fire.
Okay.
Someone else did, kind of.
Yeah, how the last person in this room was Andrew Cormerel. How Father Sunbright was basically a self-serving prick, and there's far more going on in the temple that we're aware of, almost as if there's a power struggle within itself. And then how he was killed by the drow poison sun death.
Drow poison. What makes it a drow poison? Couldn't anyone use a poison?
Well, it's drow themselves, the ones who created, typically from the Underdark itself.
But like, if you wanted to get a drow poison, you could go get one, right?
I mean, it's extremely difficult by my understanding, but yes.
Yeah, it's kind of a branding thing.
I don't know. There's like Skullport here. Like there's like you can get like anything there. It's not like a spooky place.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential connections you could get this. I mean, honestly, I think someone like Xanathar probably could have gotten it, but
You've also had some recent run-ins with the drow.
oh fuck, we did. Oh fuck, we did. Oh. After Deeth realizes puts that together, he's like, oh, we should go.
I have to tell someone what happened. We can't just leave him here. He
We
needs
can
proper
we'll
burial until
we'll
the last
leave and you
rite.
can tell me on the way. You can tell
Oh,
me.
hey, wait! I have an idea. Everyone, no one's listening, right? I'll look out the door.
No, nobody's listening.
All right. We all go back to the house. Evelyn, you scream like it just happened and run out the door and go and get help.
I mean, that is what happened. It did.
Yes. Yes, but you're going to act like it just happened and we weren't in here. And we're going to leave.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't see any reason why I need to tell anyone that you were in here.
I don't, because I'm a scary tiefling. Everyone
No.
blames murders on me.
No, it's fine. There's no reason she would tell anyone that we were in here. We
Well,
should
right now, depending on who saw, they only know of 2 people who went in and out of this room since Father Sunbright was here.
Which is scary tiefling and not church person.
They didn't see you. They saw
Oh, yeah.
Andrew Carmerel, and they saw me. Who
Yeah,
do
so
you
they're
think
gonna-
they're blame.
They didn't see you. Did they
I
see
think we should
you?
just tell the truth to Sister Incensia right now.
Is that a good idea?
It's
I don't
not a
know.
good idea.
The truth is
Deeth
always
approaches
good.
Evelyn really close and actually asks her, Evelyn, this is really important, and you have to really think about this and answer as truthfully as possible. Who in this church can you trust right now?
Can I roll an insight check on that?
You can.
Oh man. 12.
No one.
when you say I can trust no one,
You can't think of anyone.
can I infer that that means that, like, because when I think about trust, it's either I can't trust someone to have my back, or I can't trust them to truly be in the service of, like, the Morning Lord.
You can trust that most of the people here are truly in the service of the Morning Lord, or Amanator. But you're not sure who is with Lathander and who is with the other guy. Really. Because Father Sunbright has basically been kind of seeding the temple with new faiths, new philosophies, bringing in new people, rotating people around. It's all been a bit of a maelstrom recently. And it's very hard to tell whose loyalties lie where and to whom.
Look, there's a scripture that I would quote if I actually knew what the scripture was. Evelyn does, so she quotes it. But she says something to the effect of, like,
But you do, one thing you do sense definitely is true, is that by and large, people who work here are on the side of good.
so Evelyn says something to Deeth about how, like, You can't always see by the light of the morning, but when you find yourself in the darkness, the only lamp to carry is truth. We need to tell the truth.
Be like, look, Evelyn, I know we need to tell the truth. And I'm not saying we're not gonna. I'm just saying now might not be a good time. Because when they've only seen Dieth like this one go in and then they find him dead, what do you think's gonna happen?
Well, me and Dieth will go and talk to them, and you two can just.
They're not gonna believe you, and they're gonna take. They're not gonna believe you, and they're gonna blame him. They're gonna take him in, and he like grabs his face like this, just like, you see this face? You see his face? Do you know what they do to a face like this in prison? I don't think you want that for your friend.
They give us
I don't think you want that.
It's just like, please, I don't want to see him hung again.
You actually see Diaz start to like panic a little bit. Like, Paulton's right. They're gonna blame me. Oh God, they're gonna blame me again.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have more than a little respect and credence here. I think they would believe me.
Well, you know that assaulting and murdering a priest in Waterdeep carries the sentence of death.
Look, I don't know what else we can do anyway. If y'all are just gone and I go saying that, you know, nothing happened and people saw Dieth anyway, that's not going to convince anyone. And if we just leave, then certainly they're going to think it was me and Dieth together.
I think Evelyn's right. Running away at all just makes it seem even more suspicious.
So, I think we lock arms and we tell the truth together.
No, there's definitely another way to go about this. We're just not thinking of it.
Is there anything else about the body of Father Sunbright or whatever remains on there that I can see or find?
There is a sort of a holy symbol now sort of resting in his burnt out rib cage. This is after you pull the rug back and see his collapsed remains.
Evelyn is not okay when she sees that.
No, it looks like he's been half cremated, except his garb is intact, albeit now sort of blackened by soot.
Evelyn hides from that sight.
Sorry.
You can see he's got some ceremonial jewelry that is customarily worn during mass ceremonies. He would probably take it off and put it in a small chest on his desk at some point.
Okay, Evelyn, is there anyone here, one person, that would not instantly, that would believe us, that wouldn't just right off the bat just like try and rat out Dieth about this?
Yeah,
I
that's a
think
good
in
question.
sense, yeah.
Is there anyone that we definitely shouldn't talk to?
Well, I don't know, but I was just going to run out and tell Sister Incensia because she's been real nice and she seems real logical and she seems to want to do the right thing. And anyway, Trix's plan was that I should scream and go tell someone.
Okay.
My plan is always screaming. I'm sorry. I don't have a plan. I just don't want to see anyone die.
I think that Dieth and Strix should get out of here before we do that, and I'll go with you, and we will calmly talk to her about this.
If Dieth runs, doesn't that make him look more guilty?
I'll turn him invisible and he'll walk.
I think Evelyn's right. I think we can't run away. We can't run away. We can't do it. That's 3 against 1.
You can't yell at me.
Running away is bad because the last time I ran away, he got hanged and he can't get hanged again.
You can't yell at me for something I'm not even arguing. It's not running away. It's just assessing how intense the situation will be if this truth is presented.
You hear a knock.
Great. I'm just instantly gonna turn Dieth invisible.
What? No, don't.
Me too.
It has to be a willing thing, so Dieth, you don't have to be made invisible.
Never mind.
It's like a touch attack, isn't it? So as you're reaching out, Dieth's just like, oh no.
Yeah.
Fine.
And you just hear a little voice say, "Father Sunbright, are you there to sign some paperwork?"
I'll turn into a
Not
rat.
right now. He's not available right now.
I'll come back later.
Thank you.
Look, the
I
last
think-
person that was in here was Andrew Cormerl. I know it wasn't me. If it's not him, I don't know who else it would be.
Well, right now the problem is not who did it, it's who everyone's gonna think did it.
And that's why it's very important that right now, before anyone else knocks on the door, we go tell someone.
We're in a church. You think anyone here is actually gonna believe the truth?
Yes. What are you saying?
Strix is like rat
seeing what
laughing on the ground, like.
Evelyn's legitimately like, excuse me?
Fine, do what you want.
I think I usually believe the truth, and I certainly am here. And you lived here for a while too, don't you forget?
It is my job to forget.
All right, well, I think we should go tell Incensia now, together, all of us.
Cool.
Well, Strix is a rat, and she's just gonna sit on Dia's shoulder.
Should I leave the scene of the crime, or is it better if I just stay here and wait?
You should come with me, I think.
Okay. All right, Evelyn, I trust you.
How about I go get someone? How about I get the guard? How about we cuff up Dieth now? How about we cuff all of ourselves now and be like, lol, we might as well did it, so it'll throw us away.
I'm a
Seems
rat.
like a
I
good
can't have
idea.
cuffs. I just hold my little hand up.
They make sizes.
By the way, you know, Evelyn, that there is magic available. You've seen it, you've used it, to divine truth, zone of truth spells, whatnot, that kind of thing. So
Oh wait.
those things are available to authorities, and particularly the priesthoods, to discern who's lying and who's not. So maybe it's not such a big deal.
Right.
Quick question: Is he? Do I think that my raised dead would work on him?
You don't know. So with raised dead, you need an intact body. This is not
Yeah,
an
so
intact
this-
body.
yeah.
You would
Yeah,
Alright.
you would
make
need
them a-
you would
make them
need something more like a true resurrection.
Okay.
So
Does Revivify also need an intact body?
Yeah.
yeah.
Thought so.
So I just realized, maybe Evelyn and I should go talk to someone. Maybe Strix and Paulton could stay here to make sure no one else tries to come in and tamper with the scene.
I nod my rat head.
Yeah. All right. Strix.
That sounds reasonable.
Paulton.
Let's do it.
If you could stay invisible and stay here too, just to make sure no one else messes with it, and just help protect Strix.
Like, squeak.
All right, so Paulton and Strix stay. Evelyn and Diath head out. Evelyn and Diath make a investigation check to find Sister Incensia amidst this gargantuan edifice called the
Well-
Spires of the Morning. Okay, you are going around looking for her with an urgency to you, I might add, that is fairly difficult to conceal. Now I'd like you both to make perception checks.
Okay. For the record, my mind must be occupied because my investigation was a natural one.
Yeah, you're probably preoccupied.
Yeah. Oh, good. That's a 2.
Perception?
Yeah,
5.
Would you accept passive perception?
sure.
21.
Very good. So, Diath, while you are consumed, you are thrown a little bit for a loop. You're kind of walking along one side of a large space with giant pillars and all kinds of gilded paraphernalia around, sun gleaming off of everything, glass walls, through glass walls. And you see across the temple, on their way out, is what looks to be a half-elf, indeterminate gender, hair basically shaved off except for a mohawk, and this in a sort of ruddy-colored skin, but the hair is blonde, and wearing some amount of jewelry and dressed not so much like a priest, but more like a wizard. And he gives you a look and a smile and a nod and then a kiss goodbye, and then disappears before your eyes. And that's where we'll stop.
Ah!
Great. Cool. Good.
I hate it.
Good.
I like murder mysteries. This is fun.
It's about to get really fun. Okay. All right, so we'll be back next week with an all-new episode of Dice Camera Action, but we're going to break off with some announcements. I will be at Gamehole Con, along with several other members of Wizards of the Coast, this weekend, Madison, Wisconsin, and we'll be doing a bunch of things, including running D&D games for a lot of cool folks with charity, Extra Life. We're taking money to give to the Extra Life charity, and because we love kids and we would never do the things to children that we do in this show.
Whoa!
such as drug them with pastries. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Or yeah, whatever. So it's all for a good cause, and a bunch of us will be out there. So if you're going to be in the area, or you can just tune in to our Twitch channel and keep apprised of the games as they happen. And people will be playing all sorts of weird characters with things procured through charity donations, and I think everybody's going to have a spectacular time. And then later on this month, keep your eyes open for a new Wizards of the Coast release, Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage, coming soon to game stores near you.
We were at TwitchCon last week. Last show we were at TwitchCon, and we did a live on stage episode.
We did.
In costume and with props and with music and a whole shebang. And I hope that it was enough for you all to forgive me for losing the VOD of the episode from last TwitchCon. I hope that I have done enough penance. But it is on twitch.tv/Twitch in the videos section.
Yes.
And you can go watch it. And it will also be on Wizards on their YouTube channel and everything soon. But if you need to watch it now, you can find it on twitch.tv/Twitch.
Yes. Felicia Day does her own stunts.
Oh my God.
And also, little teaser, I'm not going to say what we're going to be doing, but the cast, the four of us, minus Chris, unfortunately, will be at PAX Unplugged. So if you have plans to go there, hopefully we'll see you.
For me, this coming Monday, November 12th, November 12th, my other D&D show, Dark and Dicey, comes back for a few more weeks to, I believe, wrap up season 1.
Mm-hmm.
So be sure to tune into that. It's going to be fun. And non-D&D related news, the newest season of Beyblade Burst Turbo came out, and I sang the theme song for that. So if you want to check it out, it's really cool.
I thought you were going to say non-D&D related, the music video for Bones came out.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's maybe D&D related. But yeah, I also posted a new music video, so go check that out too.
I have my computer back so I can start streaming again. So please help keep the pants in the pigeons. Thank you. That's all.
I don't have anything exciting to say for myself, so I'll just continue to talk about that Dice Camera Action subreddit. You can go there and join in all the discussion and fan art and fan theories and the like. So be sure to go on there and join the community. Now, currently at, what is it? Almost 6,000 strong.
Cool.
Are you going to spam that link?
Let's spam that link.
All right, and we're done. Yay!
All right.
Okay, everybody take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll be back next week. And until then, so long.
See you next week.
So long.